Sup creeps, and welcome to Creepy Confidential. Is Mothman really a supernatural force predicting impending doom? Did Apollo 11 really land on the moon in 1969? Did you find out if that was a cult that was living just 2 doors down that you waved to every single day when you got your mail? If these are the things you ponder when you should be sleeping, then I would like to welcome you to Creepy Confidential. I'm your host, Noelle, your resident weirdo Wisconsinite. I open case files on my favorite cryptids, cults, conspiracies, and other worldly creepy, with new cases, live broadcasts, and local lore. Some stories have been lost with time. Others are perhaps still happening today in your local communities, right up under your very creepy noses. So get ready, creeps. It's Creepy Confidential. Sup creeps, and welcome to Creepy Confidential After Dark. I am very stoked for my guest today. I'm sure you guys have seen me posting all over social media. Welcome to After Dark, the Horrorcraft Podcast. Ladies, how's it going?
Hi.
Woo, woo. Now, before we get started, we will say we are missing a member. These horrible storms have caused all kinds of ruckus. So she's unable to be here, but she is with us in spirit.
Yes.
And she is the one y'all really want to talk to too, because she's the creepy. Yeah. This is her jam.
Oh my gosh! When did we go out?
We were talking about Kylie, and then you stopped. I love it though.
It wouldn't be the After Dark without a technical difficulty.
It wouldn't.
My finger on the trigger. I would love for you guys to tell Creep Nation about what it is the Horrorcraft Podcast does.
Okay, so I am Cassandra. I am the founder of Horrorcraft. I started Horrorcraft 3 years ago with my childhood best friend. She was my safe space, the person that made me feel comfortable being weird and creepy and loving horror. And it's evolved in different ways since then. And I am super excited because we've always had a brand that's very women forward and carving out a place for women in horror because, women dominate horror, but we still have a lot of ways to go. And for us, it was creating a brand that continually highlights different types of women, because I feel like a lot of times in horror we get pigeonholed and you have to be this way or that way to be a horror fan. Yeah. And I just don't buy that. So this was kind of my rebellion. This is something I always wanted to do. And Mary and Kylie joined over a year ago. Mary will be here a year in November. But yeah, it's
Happy
just
birthday.
yeah. But yeah, we've just had fun. And Horrorcraft is an expression of that. Very early on, I was told to stay in my own lane and just stick to certain things. And I haven't, and I say this all the time, but it's been working out great for me. So,
right?
Yeah, but Mary, actually, she can intro into this, but Mary was actually a super fan before she came on.
Yeah, I binged all the episodes, and because I heard about her in a group, Thrills, Chills, and Kills, and
that's a name.
I was like, oh, Paige is amazing.
They're a film festival, which is amazing. They're amazing, and they get a lot of amazing quality films. But they have a Facebook page where they for their submissions and different things like that. And that's where somebody that we knew, she posted an episode that I had done with her.
Author Angie Martin.
Yeah. And Angie is amazing. And she's one of the people that actually pushed me to do Horrorcraft. And if you're not watching From right now, the show From, which is absolutely freaking amazing, she actually got a hold of one of the actors who plays a key monster in From, our friend Jamie McGuire. Shout out to you, Jamie. And so she came on and he came on and we did the episode, and that's the one that Mary saw.
Yes.
Very cool.
So that's how I found out. And then I'm big on, because I used to be a paranormal romance author, and I would love it when fans would reach out. So I always reach out to like anyone that, like, I listen to their podcast or I read their book or something. I like to reach out and let them know. And so
that's what I do.
Oh yeah.
I want to know all the things about you.
Yeah, exactly. You're now on my radar. So so I hit up Cassandra, and then we started talking, and then she invited me to come on an episode, and then Cassandra, why don't you take that part over?
So she had actually been on our radar prior because of the fact that she did the paranormal romances, and she was somebody that both Paige and Angie had told me about before, and we had seen each other kind of like cross paths in Clubhouse at different times. But she came on the first episode we did. It was about Black Christmas, and after we cut the episode, I'm like, well, Mary, here's your office space.
You're right.
Come
you
on.
Get water coolers over there.
Yeah.
Coffee machines over there.
And so she joined, and it's now, her, me, and Kylie. And it's the perfect space. It's our safe space. And a lot of people who see our episodes, I think they don't think that our friendship is as deep as it seems. And I'm here to tell you, anybody who's met us,
what's some of your business?
It's a little concerning because we're like obsessed. It's like stalker vibes, but we're welcoming it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as there's permission to stalk, who cares?
and so we have a joke. So in our which our group chat can never get released.
Oh yeah, we're on a watch list. It happens.
So we have Cassandra's name in it is the mom, because she's got to calm everybody down. And then we have Kylie, who's the rebel, because she is. And then I'm the spaz.
I can see that just by watching.
Which is 100%, because I'm the spaz, and it's 100% because I'm the one, if you watch any of our episodes, even listen, I'm extra. Very extra.
Very much. Like, we are going to have a montage of all of Mary's moments.
All the extra moments.
And they never know. I just show up. They know when my screen is blank. They're like, oh, Mary's on.
That's something's about to go down.
Yeah. Kylie's favorite thing is, here comes Mary on her bullshit.
Yeah. And here's Mary.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. We were mentioning this briefly before because I wanted to make sure that I brought it up on air, because I have also watched I've watched your episodes, even if you didn't know that I was around. My very first thing was that I love Mary's energy. Yeah. She is the person who shows up to the costume party when no one else is wearing a costume, and she's in full gear. And I'm here for it. The face makeup, oh man, I love it.
Yeah.
Keep going. You do you. Keep going.
Oh, I'm having such a blast with it. And it's like, what I love about Horrorcraft is I feel like I can be me. Because, been told all my life, you're a lot. And then you find your tribe and you're like, you're not a lot. They're just super lame.
They're just boring.
Yeah.
They're just boring. Oh my God, I feel that in my veins.
Yeah, I mean, that really is like what it was founded on is, for me, I didn't look like the typical horror fan growing up because I'm a plus size girly. And a lot of times
plus size girlies can't be horror fans?
But I think a lot of times people don't equate that because they're looking for
Sure.
like the shirt or, like the glaring thing in your face. And for me,
Mhm.
like, I looked like a 30-year-old businesswoman when I was 15 because like when you live around where we live, like
It's just
up until recently, like, and so now I get to be the person that I wanted to be when I was younger because I
Same.
have the money and the resources and the
Mhm.
confidence and stuff like that. Back then I didn't. So I had like the blazers from Lane Bryant and
Yep.
all that. So and when I would talk about it, I was obsessed with Sleepy Hollow too, and I had like the Tree of Death and everything on my notebooks, and people
Love it.
just thought I had a Mary brings it up all the time. I had a vampire encyclopedia.
I was like, is she gonna bring up the main thing?
And people were just like, okay, that girl needs to be on a watch list.
Yeah.
But,
and I feel that totally.
But
Totally,
now
totally.
we're the cool people, right? Because
Mhm. Now it's cool to be weird.
Yeah, it's cool to be weird.
I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, listen.
You got to be vetted first before I let you in.
Work. Yeah, we put in the work.
Also, goth and emo and all that is really trendy right now with the younger generation. Like, you don't know. That wasn't cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I live in a small enough town that literally going to Hot Topic was an experience because you were crossing a picket line. Like there were people outside of Hot Topic, like, don't go in there. They're Satanists. We love you. Like, find Jesus and stuff. And you're
then I was afraid of that. Now I'm like, I've got Jesus. Get out the way.
I remember thinking to myself, I just want to go in and buy a postcard. Like, because they used to have the postcards.
I need that Nightmare Before Christmas plushie. Damn it.
It was like, I just want to go find my cool stuff. This is the only place. Like,
it's also, we didn't have Amazon.
No. Amazon or Torrid. I remember
Torrid has become Lane Bryant.
Yeah, Torrid has become Lane Bryant. But Torrid back in the day,
it used to be very horror filled.
Yeah, it was very like pin-up-y and stuff like that. And I remember that was like a treat. Like 16, I was able to go, and my grandmother bought me a bunch of pieces from Torrid as like, you're 16, here's this now. And and that was the start. But definitely now, like, there's so many more. I mean, we still have a long way to go when it comes to plus size fashion, but there are more places now, and Hot Topic does actually carry plus sizes now too.
Yeah.
Which is
I know it used to be like up to large, and that was it.
Yeah. I've
always been chubby, so I get it.
Yeah, no. So now they actually like have plus sizes, like plus size, like they're actually looking at plus bodies. So I
love it. My eyes are watering. I'm sorry if I keep doing that.
No, you're fine.
It might be your allergies, because we have an episode where we're doing Universal Monsters, I think it was. And it looks like I'm falling asleep, but I'm not. My eyes are closing because of the allergies. And I'm like, and I keep going in the episode. I'm not asleep.
I just wanted to make sure I'm not crying. I'm having some issues here.
She's just really passionate about Hot Topic. Okay?
Yes.
I wanted that My Chemical Romance shirt. Damn it.
Yes.
Although I was never really a band into that, but whatever. But speaking of finding your tribe, and I think that's extremely important, and that's actually how Cassandra and I ran across each other. Was at GhoulieCon. Yeah. So that was my first horror convention, which I think I spoke on it briefly. Was I'm not like a crazy break down the movies and whatever. I enjoy them for artistic, the story behind it, like very different reasons. But I thought that Creepy Confidential would be a good additive, considering I cover cults and things of that nature. And we came across each other there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we related a lot to it. Especially because of the fact that we do deep dives, but our deep dives are not traditional deep dives at all. Like, we really want you to watch the movie. There's only one episode that we have done that we actually didn't like the movie, and that was Bermuda Tentacles that we did over the summer.
They have so many crazy movies nowadays.
And it was a sci-fi one, and it sounded like
It sounded awesome. It was
sounded
a giant octopus taking over the ship. I was like, hell yeah, I'm in. And that was not it.
We were expecting Linda Hamilton to punch an octopus or something, and it wasn't. It
Yeah.
changed ship too many times, and we were just we felt really bad because Mary and I watched it together, and Kylie was like, oh, I see somebody love chatting. Hi, Stephanie.
Yeah. Hi guys, a fellow GhouliCon, a fellow
Yes.
GhouliCon.
But I mean, so
A ghouler. We'll call him a ghouler.
a ghoulie, yep.
Yeah.
But for us, like, we don't do that. So a lot of our episodes, we talk about the deeper things. Like we did Halloween 2019 for Mother's Day, and we talked about generational trauma through the lens of Laurie Strode, like how that affected her as a mom, a grandmother, and how it affected all the women in her family. And we do that with a lot of different episodes. Like when we just talked about Hell House, it was like the whole reason this movie is kind of infuriating is this person the whole entire time is selling out their friends. And when you find that out, it's like a deeper portrayal. And also, too, you're screaming like, Jesus Christ, why aren't you believing that your friend is like something's, like if any of those things happened to either Kylie or Mary, like I'm getting
deuces.
Yeah, right. I'm going to try to pick them both up. And we're about to run. I'm about to run as best as I can. Like
you're gonna get Hulk strength all of a sudden.
You're gonna hear me singing "Hell No" to the no. And one thing about our podcast too is we come in with a theme.
Yeah,
but whatever. Like we're very. One thing I love about us is we're very like authentic. We're very like this is us. Yeah, this is us having a conversation. We don't know where it's gonna go.
No.
Yeah, I think the people that come on and they've morphed who they are completely. Like the minute they turn the cameras off, they're like and they're like, you can tell they're just their voice is different. The way they present.
We need more real. We need more people that we can actually relate to.
Yeah, and they get busted out in town somewhere because they're acting a certain way. But I found it fascinating that how deep everybody took the message of a fictional horror movie. I'm a fan of the horror movies that are based on true stories. Hence my last episode, I started breaking them down. I covered Poltergeist and The Birds. But there was such even those movies, they have a meaning. Somewhere someone's like, well, the birds represent this and she represents this. I was like, it's like I feel like I'm in some major college book club.
I was about to say, what is it, English class?
Yeah.
I used to get so upset because I love to read, and I was just like, can we just read the book?
Yeah.
I agree with Ghost Dog selling out friends. That's so 2024. Yeah, I feel like a big thing for us is
that's really funny.
Yeah, it is very funny. That is a big thing for us is I hate that in our community, there is a lot of gatekeeping still. I feel like that's something that's should still be a thing, and it is. But for us, it's like we want to build up our community. Like that's the whole reason that we started all of this. That's the whole reason that we continue on. And so we have a variety. So, we have Horrorcraft. Kylie and I, we do Spooky Moms, which is more our like family friendly version. But like we did an episode because we both have special needs children talking about Come Play and the mom and Come Play and how that relates to the experience of being a mom with a child on the spectrum and how that looks for each one of us and stuff like that. And, even with Midnight Bite, we did that's Joanna and I doing vampires. The episode that we did, we talked about our high school experiences and how we are the people now that we wanted to be then. And basically just being like, listen, it gets better. It does. It doesn't seem like it in the moment, but
it does.
Little
bit.
Little Cassandra, went through all she did. So this Cassandra could be the person that she wanted to be.
One walk so the other one could run.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Those types of situations.
My stepdaughter's 16, and I always tell her, these are not your golden years.
Yeah, they're not.
No. When you're like in your 20s and 30s, you're going to shine, and you're going to have a blast, and you're going to be a different person, and that's okay.
Yeah, we just want to.
I agree with, I think Cassandra mentioned it earlier, is now I have the means, where before
Yes.
Creepy Confidential started out of that little girl that sat in a library reading weird library books, nonfiction, even then. And, you know, I wanted to read about mummies and ghosts. I was obsessed with ghosts. And I keep a copy of one of the original kid books that I loved because it's great. It has a great, you know, it's like a good source of what I used to read about, but it reminds me that look, you were creepy even here, but I didn't look creepy. You know, I didn't go through the crazy emo phases or anything like that, where it was all, you know, whatever. Wasn't allowed to dress that way.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Where now I can wear shirts that have, you know, Slipknot on it and you know, whatever. I can be me. So I think that's really, it's important for people to know that if you're in this creepy community, or, you know, horror is creepy community, that, you know, here's your tribe. Welcome. I love that.
I think that's a big thing and a big experience, because let's face it, there are a lot of podcasts that kind of have the same formula. And we didn't want to be that. So a lot of times we switch it up. Like, we started doing Reddit stories before GhouliCon, and we've just continued it. And we do all kinds of just different things. We did an episode for my birthday where we talked about my favorite fixation, which is Dracula 2000. But I mean, you
recently refreshed for me, because I was like,
yes,
all about that movie.
Yes,
Gerard, yeah.
Gerard.
No, my husband's watching this.
Pause. Oh, my husband accepts it. He's just like,
I mean, that was a long time ago. So, you know, although Gerard Butler nowadays is same.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Ghost Dog.
He doesn't age.
Yeah, I agree with Ghost Dog that Dracula Untold. And see, that's for
me. Yeah, so we did an episode on that too.
Yeah, we did. I feel like we just kind of lose passion a lot of times for the movies because we're picking them apart a lot. And so our big thing is everything is worth a watch except if it's Bermuda Tentacles. I do not.
Then the answer is no.
Then the answer is no. Yeah, I like Ghost Dog saying Miss Creep wants Jensen Ackles to be Dracula, probably. I mean,
I'm all about Daddy Winchester.
I mean, it's a good thing that I have rose-color lights on in here, because
I mean, I agree with that comment.
So are you a Supernatural fan?
I mean,
girl,
I've been says everything.
Girl, I've watched it from the pilot to the season finale night, so I'm your girl.
It's actually not. I didn't, when Supernatural was so it's right up my lane, right? It has all the things, including Jensen Ackles. But it wasn't my fault that I started watching it. Mr. Creep actually was watching it, and I think he was several episodes in, because he was just trying to work through. He also, because that wasn't his. You know, he grew up in an area and a vibe in his life where that just wasn't even on the radar.
Right.
So he was like, let's watch it and see what all the hubbub's about. And he was several episodes in, and you know how you walk through the living room when somebody else is watching? And I saw the creatures. I think it was the scene where, was it his mom? No, girlfriend. The girlfriend's on the ceiling and she's on fire. Yeah. And,
Jessica.
And I was like, dude, what? What is this? And then had to stop and watch. He couldn't just keep watching them because I wanted to watch them all. And then we watched it all the way to the end, where I cried.
Oh my God.
Like, I didn't sob, but I could hear him, and my hubby was like, "Are you okay over there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right."
I'd be like, "No, okay."
I'm not emotionally okay. I mean, we get it because, you know, from just restarted this past weekend, and we're all like, From is very visceral. And we all are like in the corner, like, are we really signing up for another season of this? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't think we can take
for punishment.
Yeah, we really are.
Speaking of Supernatural, though, because that was obviously, that's something that's a playing field we all seem to be have a common playing field about. Because I enjoyed all of the different monsters and ghosts and whatnot. In our own lives, though, have you guys had kind of your own supernatural moment where you've had some sort of interaction with like a ghost or a spirit?
Yeah. Yeah,
Are
definitely.
you willing to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm very open about that.
Okay.
I think I've always kind of just believed because we talk about this a lot in the podcast, but Krampus doesn't get enough respect as he deserves, but I had a very terrifying but loving Omi, my grandma Sanderson, that told me about Auntie Santy very young. And so since then, I've just I think our family is very German. And
Polish
I feel
German.
yeah. And when you come from we're 5th generation removed from the island. So like my great grandparents were the ones that immigrated over. And I think there comes like a mysticism level when you have that kind of culture, because if you look at the German culture,
They believed in different things.
They believed in so many different things. And so ghosts just seem normal, right? I mean, because you're just like, out of all the things that could pop out, ghosts are I will definitely check that out.
It's fun. I've been there.
But I just, growing up, I've always felt that way. So my grandfather, he died, my great grandfather, he died on Thanksgiving in 2008. And afterwards, for a while, we kept finding Milky Ways in random places. And still to this day, if I'm having a hard moment and I'm thinking about him, there are times where I literally find Milky Ways in like the craziest places. Like,
right.
There was one time when I was pregnant with Brayden where I had not bought Milky Ways for a while, long time. And I had been thinking about my grandfather. Obviously, I'm like very emotional, and I could just feel something. Yeah, you're hormonal. And so I thought I felt something like in my house, and I just kind of chalked it up to, oh, I'm pregnant. Are you German enough? You have an aunt that taught you to fight. Yeah, I mean,
we'll come back to that, right?
We'll come back to that.
Ghost story.
But I just kept feeling that way, and I was getting stuff ready for my son, and this room that we had, it like I had not really been in it because it was actually supposed to be like my closet, because it was like a smaller room. We lived in a trailer at the time, and we were getting stuff ready, and on the top shelf, like on the closet, in the back of there was a Milky Way, like all the way in the back. Like someone literally had to
like
put it up there and stuff. But Ohio is creepy too. Like Ohio, I live by the water, and
there's lots here.
Yeah, especially being by the water, I always feel a calm, but also a very deep sense of dread. And I went to religious camp on Kelly's Island for a couple of years. And one year we actually did scuba diving camp, where we went and we scuba dived in an actual like shipwreck that they had there, where you could go and you
My confirmation camp wasn't like that. We just had to go camping.
That should be a shirt, that Ohio is creepy. But I just remember there were times that we were on Kelly's on that side, and it just felt weird. Like there were parts of times where we were like in the forest and stuff, and I just felt uncomfortable. And I don't know, for some reason there's a very deep part of me that when we're by the water, a lot of times I can
spidey sense goes off.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people
secretly a mermaid and you forgot.
I mean, secretly probably I am. I know secretly I'm a pirate, and it's my pirate sense is going off.
You're like, pirate, you got mermaid.
To go. We have to keep this together.
Yeah, pirate mermaid. There we go. But no, I just think it's because of the fact that like you pick up on those vibes, because
you do.
The sea, well, the lake, there's a
Mhm.
lot of things that happened in the lake that a lot of people don't realize.
Mhm.
And it's just a creepy vibe sometimes. So
I'm not sure. Are you familiar with stone tape theory?
no.
Stone tape theory? I think that's what it, yeah. So essentially, here, say this phone, right? So many
Uh-huh.
people touch it over how many years, and then this thing now
Oh,
holds that
yes.
energy,
Yep.
right? I was
Yep.
trying to think of the best way to explain it. But a lot of times it's only associated with like buildings, brick, land,
Hmm.
But I feel that water can also have that because
Oh,
of, I mean, of everything that's
Never
in it.
thought
Rock,
about that,
sand.
but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I've always just
deeply.
thought of objects or like actual structures, but I've never thought of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
But oh my
I
gosh,
think
there's
it can.
so much we don't know about the ocean. So who knows
Mhm.
what's down there?
And I'm
Yeah.
going to be really like for real. I love abandoned.
Appalachian Mountains. Yeah.
Mhm. I love abandoned stuff. Um, and I love watching those videos, but actually going to something, especially I love abandoned theme park videos because of
Mhm.
growing up by a theme park. But Cedar Point, I don't think a lot of people realize how creepy Cedar Point can be at certain points in time. Like that,
Well, it's been there forever, and there
it's
has been
been,
tragedies, and they're
and it's,
undocumented.
and also too, way before that, like there's a history, like that used to be the hot spot too back in the day. That's kind of
Mhm.
how Cedar Point got started. That was a big place for a lot of immigrant families going to the beach and stuff. That was a big part of even my family history. I have a picture of my grandfather and his brother from like 1922 on like the
Yikes.
arcade building there now. But there are times where you walk through there and you know that things have happened. Like it's not just Halloween's.
Mhm.
It
I've
is.
and I think all of us have. I'm not. I don't want to say I don't believe in mediums, but there's no way that of 100 people, 99 of them are mediums. Like
Yeah.
there's probably truly only a handful that truly have a gift
Yeah,
of some kind. But I
because
think that.
something on my bucket list was to go see a psychic, right? And I did that at a fair. She
Mhm.
was totally wrong. She told me my husband had some secret child and that we were moving. I'm like,
Like who?
we're not
What?
going anywhere.
Yeah. And that's most of it is. But our brains, like people that are sensitive or mediums, I think all of us have something that makes our spidey sense go off. Some people it's being by the water, being by the ocean. For me, I love black and white photos. I absolutely love black and white photos. And that's just something, there's something about it. You can't, is it their eyes? Is it their clothes? Is it the untold story?
It's a short medium called small. Oh my God.
Yeah. Jokes. Yokes.
No, I get what you're saying though. Something specifically though that
Mhm.
was terrifying for me is there is a um you have urban legends in different towns that you grow up with. Ours was Gore Orphanage, and Gore Orphanage is actually not that far from where I'm at right now.
I
I'm
have a
actually
question.
closer. Yeah.
Why is it called that?
So Gore Orphanage actually was, I think it was
Probably a
named,
last name.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was named after someone's last name, but apparently there was a tragedy that there was a bunch of children that died, and there's a bridge, and it said that
It's always a bridge.
yeah,
Yeah.
it said that if you go by this bridge and you leave like baby powder, that there will be like handprints that are left and stuff. What they don't tell you though, and a lot of locals know this, is the place that they actually say is like Gore Orphanage related. It's not actually like the true, like it's a back further. But even going into that area, so I had friends that wanted to do that at one point in time,
Mm-hmm.
and we got close to that area, and I freaked the fuck out because literally when we're in the car, I can feel something, right? Because we're not even like close. I can
Right.
feel that we're getting close. And I can tell you now, living out here, that there are some areas like that where you get like in the back road parts of it, and you're just, I don't know if I'm just sensitive. I don't know what it is, but you approach certain areas and you're like, okay, that's not happening. Like
Right. You're like bad mojo.
I'm not going and doing that.
So that, as you bring that up, something interesting to read about, or you may know about, is the crybaby bridges that are
Yes.
around Ohio. So Mr. James Willis is at the Frogman Festival every single year. He's an author. He's written all
Ooh.
kinds of books, and his write-ups and his research about the crybaby bridges are great, fantastic. I'm pretty sure that one is in one of the books I have that he wrote. So I don't, there's something about it. And the whole baby, I love it when every now and then I hear about an old school way of investigating, because that's where baby powder used to be. That was long before the days of equipment and everything, is you would put baby powder down on the floor and you'd be able to tell if someone had walked through there. So I find it fun that that's what they put in there.
I feel like that's something they bring up, but I just remember us even approaching it, and it gets very dark in certain places here, like in the middle of nowhere. There's just a certain like level, especially when you're like closest places like 5 miles away, where it gets like dark and middle of nowhere. So they were like, oh, we're gonna go do this, and everything in me was just saying no. And all of a sudden it just got like, you ever been in one of those like tunnels that they do at like the science museums, where it's like the sound, as soon as you close it, like the sound drops out?
I haven't, but I've been on an investigation where that's happened before.
So that happened. That happened. Literally the whole entire sound, like we were all very quiet approaching, but obviously it's Ohio. Like there's tons of noise, like especially in the country and stuff like that. There's a ton of critters and different things. Eerily quiet, and we're just getting closer, and all of a sudden it got chillier, and I was like, no, we can. I'm freaking out, and they're like, oh, you're the horror fan, you should love this. And I was like, that's
why I'm freaking out.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't sign up to get murdered.
But there's something about, so we when I met the Hellmaster, I don't know if I won't like say his real name. So when we did the panel together,
yes,
I brought my haunted objects up on stage. He did not like them. He is really afraid of them.
Yeah, no, I
out by them. And I remember I turned to him and I was like, you watch horror movies? And it was like, it's because it's real. Like, this isn't somebody that's not filmed, it's not made, it's not that, like, but yeah, I kept pushing him towards him.
Yeah, I totally get that, because I'm a big person about, like, I don't really do a lot of, I've worked my way up finally to thinking like this year I can go through a couple scare zones and stuff, but I'm not somebody who handles like being in a haunted house well, because of the like sensory like experience around you and stuff like that.
There's lots of people that are like that. It's not even that it's scary. It's just, there's too many things.
It's just too much of like I love Ordinary Adventures, which is like a traveling, and they're really great. But they did a couple for, they did like horror nights, but they just have one for Knott's Berry Farm. And they did the haunted houses. And those look creepier to me than anything, because they have like things that come up like the animatronic, like the one that I watched. And Mary, you're going to be proud of me of this, because they went through a spider one, and I actually watched the walkthrough of that.
Yeah.
But they had like big animatronic spiders that were like coming down on
people. I got a real spider right there.
We're just gonna pretend like you didn't say that.
He's little. His name is Ed. He's on the Creepy Confidential page all the time.
I can't. I'm sorry. I do a lot of things.
See him. He's way up here. Don't worry.
I do a lot of things creepy, but I can't.
You like draw a line.
Yeah, my family. My family is from Colorado, and where we're from in Colorado, like my grandparents had like 5 acres, and they had like certain, because they were truck drivers, and I remember distinctly different times going through their like shed, which is like a big wraparound one that you could get to the other side where the trucks were, and tarantulas just making nests in there, and I
made my stomach queasy.
yeah. They're
very docile.
No,
That's
I
But I get
can't.
it. I get it.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't like
can't.
scary things.
Something I want to comment to that Ghost Dog said. He was talking about how I don't do haunted houses because I'm afraid I'll throw some creepy clown through a wall. So I grew up in California. I live right by Knott's Berry Farm, like maybe like
Yes.
15, 20 minutes. I went to haunt when I was like 17, and back then, no, I'm 36 now. And so back then, it wasn't as regulated as it is now, where like if you touch someone, it's a big deal.
You're out.
No.
This vampire was following me, was being creepy, and kept like touching me, and I was a wild punk rock girl, okay? So I clocked him. And then one of the security people over there were like, "Oh, you can get kicked out for that." I was like, "Oh, for stopping from being assaulted?" And he was like, "Oh," I said the word, and he was like,
he said the A word. Yeah,
I was just like,
that's what he was doing.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah. I've had a similar experience growing up. Obviously I lived by Cedar Point, and I was at a friend's, it was her sister's birthday party, and she was allowed to bring a friend, and they have a big round building in the back that they use, and they've rethemed it throughout the years, but this one in particular was themed to clowns, and it was similar to like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which at the time I had just actually seen. And
that movie looks terrifying.
Killer Clowns.
Yeah. From Outer Space, right?
Oh, it's so much fun. It's fun. It's so cheesy. I showed my stepdaughter it, and she's 16, and she's got the movies from now, and I was like, it's just silly.
Yeah, so at the time it wasn't silly to me though, because obviously it takes place in a small town. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I watched that, but then went and saw, I watched it a couple months later and was fine. I was like, oh, I already was traumatized, but we were going through, and
you should be more traumatized from it.
I really, you know what it was? I knew that Tim Curry was in it, and Tim Curry could convince me of anything.
Right.
Truly.
Okay, but him as the darkness.
Oh, and Legend? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
I was even as a young adult, I was like, do I have problems?
If you have problems, I have the same problems, because I'm pretty sure that was the inspiration for a lot of dark, smutty books.
Yeah. That character was on the cover.
I'm here for that.
Yeah. I just and it is he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
before I forget about it, real quick, Miss Mary, there is a paranormal erotica author that is a friend of mine. Her pen name is H.E. McVeigh. And you would love, if you are an author, a fellow author, she's everywhere. She's on Amazon and all that stuff.
H.E. McVeigh, okay. That's my jam.
She basically writes vampire erotica.
Oh, did you hear that, Cassandra?
Vampire erotica, I heard that loud and clear.
Yeah.
Listen to that.
H.E. McVeigh. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Before I forgot, I needed to get it out. You mentioned it earlier.
So the side tangent that then we'll get back to the other tangent to wrap it all.
It's a tangent web.
It's a tangent web. But anyways,
we support it.
Since this is after dark, we're going to go ahead and tell you about one of the funniest stories. So Mary, because she obviously deals with the author realm, she was letting us know about some releases that were coming out. And one of them was a monster spicy book about a snake.
Oh no! Why do I have a feeling I know where this is going?
And we're like,
by the way, I did not read it. We were laughing about.
We were laughing
how do you make a sex? How do you make a sex? How do you make
it a sex?
How do you make a snake sexy? And then we thought, how do you have sex with a snake?
Yeah,
and we learned too much.
So we Googled, how does that happen? Because we need to know, that's when we found out that snakes have 2 bodily members.
Yeah.
In a pouch. And
so do chameleons.
What happened in the process of them? Mary's whole life is mystified right now, But anyways,
I was a vet tech for like a decade and a half, so I just know that. Anyway.
so we literally, I'm Googling it on my phone, and I can't tap fast enough. Do not realize that my child's behind me. And so I ask Siri, do snakes have penises? And that's when Siri decided to say that snakes do have 2 penises. And my child was like, Mom, snakes have 2 penises?
You're like,
I'm like, so
where did you get there?
my child knows about this. So yeah, so that's the information that we had. But going back to the haunted house, yeah, we were in this haunted house. These little girls get scared, and so I'm in the front with my friend and her mom. And the dad was in the back. They pushed me up against a wall. I hit the wall, heard my nose crunch, and I'm bleeding at this point. I know I'm bleeding.
Oh.
And the federal agent assigned to watch your internet activity was like, they probably are like, what the fuck, on a constant occasion with us. Okay, the things we Google for research purposes for horror.
Try mine.
I know. I feel like they have to.
You need to get me and Kylie on a tangent, okay? Because we're the conspiracies, we're the cults.
Yeah.
Cassandra loves it, but she is a normal person who doesn't deep dive as much as we do into that.
I mean, I do. I just don't talk about it as. I'm more the vampire cults. Like, right. Joanne and I both are like, we find the real vampire cult. It's over. We're done. Yeah. Like,
there's one here in Ohio.
I know. And Joanna and I are like, we're never coming back to real life.
I will say,
did you like break somebody else's nose because they broke yours?
No. So the clowns are the clowns are all like in that perimeter. And of course they see that somebody's hurt. I'm a 16-year-old kid at this time. And all of a sudden my nose, like I said, I could feel my nose and I didn't know if it was broken or not. So I'm holding my nose. All of a sudden, all I see is clowns by me when I open my eyes. And I immediately go to shove, and I like shoved, decked. I still am not concerned. Like, I don't know for certain if I decked this person, if I hit, what happened to them, but they were nice enough to not be like, oh, there Mary goes.
Oh, terrifying.
Yeah. But I was like, where's Mary at? But no, so thankfully they took me out like the back way. And I was like,
but as an actor in those, you forget what you look like.
Yeah. And now I know that. And I'm like so appreciative.
It's happened to me. Yeah. Oh my God. It's happened to me as an actor. They did. I was in a burn. They put me in like a house that had been burned down. So I looked like skin and everything.
Oh yeah.
And which is terrifying. Think about that. Your house being burned down. That's really terrifying for people. They pumped smoke in and everything. It was really cool. But somebody had an issue. Like you could tell they either tripped or was something with their leg. And I came out of character and walked up to them and they lost their shit. I forgot. Because I didn't have like things on. I pretty much just had a flannel that had been torn, but my makeup was all airbrushed, so it wasn't heavy. I completely forgot what was on my face.
I have a story with that.
Go ahead.
My dad worked haunt because my dad worked at Knott's, and in one of his first years, he came home as a zombie, and he thought it would be really funny to wake me up and scare me. I punched him in the face, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And he was like, "No, I deserved it. No, I deserved it." But it's. How would you like a zombie with professional makeup standing over you?
I like the motionless and white comment because
yeah. And it was a Wendy's, not a Subway. Actually, I drug Mr. Creep out to Pittsburgh because they had the terrifying. It was Trinity of Terror, Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills, and Black Veil Brides, and I was full, of course, motionless. Old school makeup where he did the black and the thing and everything.
Yeah.
And I was hungry. And they didn't get my salad right. So I went into Wendy's and the girl was just, what do you need? was
I
like, "Yeah,
mean,
can I have some salsa? You know, I really need some salsa." And they're like,
here.
Whatever you want, lady.
But
Stir
yeah,
the crap out
so
of 'em.
the back to like what we were talking about originally, the incident with that was like the only real time that I had like a deep feeling like that. And I've had feelings like that around my house and stuff at different points in time, but that was like like I'm like, we're gonna die. Like we are literally gonna die if we don't back it out here. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I've seen this horror movie way too many times. And I've actually heard other people say the same thing, that they've had like similar experiences. So I feel confident enough that but Mary, what about you? Have you ever had any?
I
Have you had a
one.
paranormal experience?
I have one. So there's this place by me called Black Star Canyon.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, it's nuts. There's all these rumors. The guy that started the Satanic Church is supposed to have a house that was up there, and there are a lot of people that are like, "Get off my land, or I'm going to shoot you." But there is a canyon, and as teenagers, we all go up there and party and everything like that, up to no good.
What you do?
And there's like this tower, so it's pitch black already. Okay. And it's super scary. You have to go up all these crazy roads just to get to this area. And I know what you mean by the no sound. So this moment happened to me. We're just, hanging out or looking around, and out of my corner of my eye, I see something. And I look over, and it's like on this like hill thing, like by the tower. And I can clearly see it's a hooded figure with glowing red eyes. And I'm like, oh, who's messing with us, Right. So I told my friends, I was like, look at this jerk. Like, I thought it was just some stupid person. They're like, what are you talking about, Mary? And I look back, it's gone. And it wasn't like an area where someone could duck down or anything. Right. And then it went quiet. Couldn't hear the crickets. Couldn't hear anything. And I went, yo, let's go. I'm done.
You're like, bye.
Yeah.
It's a very weird phenomenon. And it's kind of those, like, you have to experience it to understand it, because it's literally, if you were to go into a soundproof room and your ears kind of ring because you're so used to getting things, all the time, where there's nothing, and all of a sudden you realize, you're like, I hear nothing. And I think it probably only ever happened like twice in my entire career of investigating the paranormal, but it's something you can't prove. There's
right. Yeah, you can't unless you've been, like, only people who have been through that experience like understand how it is, but it literally is so terrifying, like the way that does happen.
You think you're going deaf.
Yeah, and it's like almost like you can't trust yourself in that situation. Like you're like,
and the chills you get.
Yes, yes, that's a big one.
Then all the alarms start going off because you think that you're having an issue.
Well, also, I believe that voice and those feelings you get, I feel like that's human preservation. That's our bodies being like, we need to survive, yo. The freaking mammoth is coming. Like, that's what I really feel it is.
It's a survival tactic, that our bodies give us a fair warning that
I preach. Women, listen to your voice. Yes. Women, listen to your voice. I preach that.
Very true. So we're allowed to ask Creepy a question, since obviously we're the Horrorcraft Podcast. I know you've already been asked what is your first scary movie, but what is the first movie that truly terrified you?
Oh, I don't, man, because it's weird, because I would say Chucky.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those, I don't even think I watched all of it when I was finally like allowed, because it used to play on the TV, but I'm sure pieces of it were taken out because he does cuss and things like that. And I remember it being on like TBS or something like that. But I always had to leave the room if Dad was going to watch it. And then as I got older, I remember watching it thinking like, it's terrifying. It's absolutely scary. I wasn't like a Dolly's kind of little girl. Yeah. But I had, it looked like it was a pillow, but it looked like
Like a
I
doll.
don't know, like a doll, yeah, but it was like flat, big, like a pillow.
Yeah.
It had legs and everything. And my dad used to travel and he'd bring back things from Mexico. And I had this clown that was above my bed that was on a swing, like a paper mache clown. And after I saw it, I wouldn't go in my room. I was like,
That
Blame
sounds
you.
that
I
sounds
don't want anything other
literally
than sheets and a bed.
that literally sounds like the premise of Dolls. If you've ever
Oh,
seen
yes.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Or Dolly Dearest. That's another one with the
Yeah, I don't seek out the real, like, kind of gory, scary movies, but the ones that I've seen that are kind of the classics, I guess, they stick with me like forever.
yeah, I
have-
feel like too many times we're chasing, like, there is this subculture of horror where we're chasing this like dark high, and I almost think that it's destructive in a way.
Yeah.
Because there are certain movies that just don't need to be glamorized. I talk about this all the time, but like a Serbian film for me is just one of those that if that is your favorite horror movie, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little
Yeah.
concerned just because, and I understand the political message and stuff like that, but it's just a little disconcerting, especially if you're like super interested in it.
Mhm.
I can understand watching a movie and thinking, you know what, that's great. And not wanting to ever see it again. Like Martyrs is one of those to me that I've watched it, I think a total of like 3 or 4 times now. And I don't ever think I'll go back in again because it's an extreme.
Yeah.
It's meant to be extreme, but it's
Mhm.
extreme for a reason because the whole point is what people will do in what they think is a good cause. Because in their minds, they think that this is like, having a martyr, bringing this person close to death is going to solve everything, and
Yeah.
it doesn't.
The one that scarred me was the 70s version of The Last House on the
The left, yes.
I've watched it one time, and I will only watch it one time, but I will preach that it's a great movie, but it will fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean, that's VHS, that the original one. That is another one that like I watched it multiple times, but
I haven't seen it.
VHS, some of the segments in there, they are kind of like
Hostel was this Hostel. You said Hostel. I just feel like that was just torture porn.
Yeah, I just don't. There are certain ones that are like Terrifier. Those guys at Terrifier, they're doing that because they're having fun with it, right? And it's a whole thing for the horror. It's kind of like a big inside joke for the horror. And not that those movies are a joke, because really, truly,
I've heard they're quite bad.
They're terrifying, but it's artistry too, because this is a lot of those people that wanted to see certain movies growing up, got together and made this, and that's kind of their thing, that they rev it up every time, and they use a lot of practical effects, and they think, how can we make this the most practical yet terrifying as possible? Yeah. And
Terrifier is just funny to me, and I know maybe that makes me screwed up, but I love it because you're like, that was ridiculous.
Well, and Art is a character. He's it's not like some of the other characters we have. It's more of like, we know he's ridiculous. We know he's terrifying. We know that this is like his character. So you can kind of in your mind say, okay, that's a thing. But some of the other ones, you just can't. Especially like, for me, Texas Chainsaw was always one, this is a hot take, but that kind of, I felt like is overrated in certain aspects on some of the films, because obviously 2 is the best, I will say.
Thank you. Okay. All right. We're about to throw some hands.
Yeah, no, 2 is great. The first one, obviously, like, that changed the game for a lot of things.
The first one is just funny. Like, we watched it again, and oh my god, me and my husband were laughing so hard when he's like hitting her with the broom. I'm all, get up, it's a broom.
Yeah. I mean, now you watch it and you're like, okay, but in the moment when you watched it when you're younger, but the second one to me is always my favorite because it's a different vibe, and it is scarier in a way because they're so fucking delusional. that you almost want to believe them. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, they're crazy. You believe they're like, Bill Moseley to me is always going to be picking his brain with a coat hanger in my mind. And I'm going to think, you know what?
It's
You
because he
go,
has the
guy.
plate in his head.
Yep,
Yeah.
you go, guy. You do your
And see,
thing.
I for someone like myself, where I am very open about my mental health and what I've gone through, and I am on a somewhat even plane now. But this brain has we're perfectly able to create the darkest of dark things.
Yeah.
Involving myself, involving other people. That those movies, I feel like. Why? Because I'm not alone in this ballpark. I know there's lots of other people that suffer from depression, bipolar, enter things here, schizophrenia.
I like that it's more open now.
And I don't think they should be watching movies like that, because then you're asking for a trigger that you probably don't need. So for me, being in Creepy Confidential, I'm like, where's the monsters? Where's the aliens? Where's the vampires? Because those things aren't real. Like in my brain, they're not real. So I'm okay with it. It's like my brain is able to be okay with it, where the stuff with all humans, like Terrifier, that's a human. Even if he's got problems, it's a human.
Oh, it's not a human.
Chucky, it's not a human, but it looks like a human. Or you have Chucky, which still looks like a human, and it has humans that are in it. It's a human that possessed it. It's like humans. I like the creature.
Yeah, because you could kind of separate it. I get that.
I can take it away.
Well, I'm that way with, like, everyone's really into true crime, and sometimes I like certain stories, but that's more terrifying to me than any horror movie, because I look at horror, and when there's a kill in the horror movie, I'm like, oh, how'd they do that? Like, how'd they do the effects? I'm always thinking that, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, sometimes it could be a kill and you laugh because you're like, that was ridiculous. Or you're like, oh, wait, I saw the mark. Like, and, but true crime is going off a story that really freaking happened.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
What's weird for me is, for those who, like, in Creepy World, those who don't know, I went to school to be a legal assistant. I have a dual degree in business management and legal studies. And
she's smart, y'all. She's smart.
But for me, like, you have to learn how to compartmentalize that, because there are a lot of deep, dark things, like externing. I've seen a lot of just crazy things that you do have to put in this, like, box.
Mm-hmm.
So there are parts of it that don't scare me in certain aspects, because I know this. Like, I know that this is real. I know that these are things that happen. So I'm able to do that. There are some, though, that just are completely just out of the realm. Like, Long Legs, to me, was the scariest movie so far. A lawyer, no, the paranormal paralegal. I like that.
Now that's a YouTube channel.
That is a YouTube.
I'm gonna write that book. I'm gonna write that book.
Yep. I'll be your inspiration, Mary. It's fine. But Long Legs, to me, was one of the most unsettling movies of the year.
He was very unhinged.
He was, and it was. You knew that this is a person that's out there. You knew that this is a person that is like this. That it just had that feel. There were so many things that were just rooted in reality, like the things with the mom and the hoarding and stuff like that. That just, like, I've seen a lot, and it wasn't even that it's gory. Yes, it is a disturbing one. It wasn't even that
it's psychologically.
Like how Silence of the Lambs. If you've ever watched that for the first time and you were left after that, like,
the book was better.
It always is.
I mean, it always is. It always is.
The movie was fantastic.
I was about to say the movie was fantastic, but always the book is going to be better, right? I mean, it's just going to be. But Anthony Hopkins. I mean, Anthony Hopkins.
If Thomas Harris was going to choose somebody, they did a great job with picking Anthony Hopkins.
Well, and I was about to say, when they came out with the TV show and Mad Michelson was.
I never watched that.
Oh.
Go now.
You will have a.
We'll wait.
A horrible attachment to Hannibal Lecter because of how well Mad Michelson does with the character, because he could ask to eat my brain and I would say, you know
You'd
what,
be
sir?
like, today or tomorrow.
I see that. I see that. Yeah. So
You did this part, so
yeah. As long as I'm we're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine. Like, request accepted.
I mean,
Partially.
I think I need a little break.
Yeah.
A lot of
So
Like, my eye's starting to twitch. Can you go to a different part?
Creepy. I want to tell you, I applaud you for sharing your mental health story, because that's not easy to do. And we are very open. That's one thing on the Horrorcraft, is we always say horror heals. And I do the social media, and I try every Sunday to post something mental health wise, because I want people to know they're not alone. And and because I know I have ADHD, I have anxiety. Me and Cassandra, majorly ADHD, Kylie too, and I wasn't diagnosed till I was an adult. So I grew up thinking,
That's a challenge.
why am I such a screw up? I can't focus. I can't do all these other things. Because back when we were kids, no one talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just want to applaud you, because we are on that same kind of platform where we want to show people.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. But
and it's strange because it's it's not related to what we do collectively, or what I do, but it is, because I think this is what saved me when no person would.
Yeah. So
and that sounds very dramatic, but
no, it doesn't.
So, it doesn't, because I understand.
When you've been through it, it's when if I could pick up a book and read about something that was, because for me it was more about books. I really like books,
right?
So nonfiction, and going to the library by myself. That was me as a kid. Yeah, it's weird. So briefly, before I continue on that, this is going in a totally different way than I expected. I love it.
Welcome to the Horrorcraft Podcast.
Yeah, so this is quite lovely. And I'm like, we're just going to let it ride. But that's important, is I think when we have people that come to these conventions, and they come up and they speak to you at your panel, at your table, and they get to tell you a story or whatever, that is a moment that you're spending there with them, and maybe they are where you were. Maybe they're like, this is probably sharing too much, but a long time ago, early in my mental health journey, I had to go into the hospital for a little while, and that's okay. You need help, but you don't know where they are. Maybe they need to be nerdy and talk and, be who they are, because at one point people told them they couldn't. So I love that. I think more people need to talk about it. There is nothing wrong with it. It is not dirty to be a nerd. It is not dirty to be a creep. I
think there's so much that we don't talk about in relation to horror that should be talked about. Like, this is a big thing that we talk about, but like the whole lifeblood that Horrorcraft kind of functioned on is my friend that I started this with, Brittany. When I experienced domestic violence with my son's father, she was the one that pulled me out, and she used horror, watching American Horror Story and a couple of other things that we watched at the time, to kind of pull me out of that place. And she was the reason why I saw a way forward. And it was because she helped reprogram my brain in a way that I didn't understand. She helped build me up in something that I didn't understand at the time. And it's something that I continue to use as a lifeblood when my son would be in the hospital, when I was going through these crazy issues in my life. And so that's what I wanted to do. This is my combination of making that public, making that pushing this narrative forward, because domestic violence is something we should be talking about. Mental health is something we should be talking about. And we definitely should be talking about the ways that we connect and that we can care for each other on a human being level. And horror does that. A lot of people don't see that side of horror. So that's us like screaming that into the void. It's the ability to see somebody like you or me or Mary and connect with one of us, and then have that conversation. If somebody comes up to me in public and talks to me openly about their situation, I don't care what I'm doing. I will make that time for you. I am that person that, I mean, Mary is the first person that could tell you that everything that I preach on this screen is exactly the person that I am in real life. If you need help, I am here for you.
Well, you've been on video with me because like that's one of our things with Horrorcraft is we want a safe space for everybody, and we're not putting on a show, we're not putting on an act. No. We're just having fun talking about horror, and we're just stoked other people want to listen to it. Like, so sometimes we're like, oh, so you nerd out about this too. Cool.
Yeah. And sometimes you relate to somebody on a deeper level than you didn't even know. Like, we had Tyler Page on, which is a friend of Mary's, and she writes an amazing, wonderful series of books that's the Final Girls, and you're looking for something that's spicy and amazing, that's her. But she was on, and she was talking about how when she was growing up, she felt like she couldn't express who she was. Like, she had to hide her Hispanic heritage. And for a lot of people, they don't realize, because I am very Caucasian presenting, that is also a part of me. And a big part of the reason that I have a level of shame with that is because there were so many years that my dad made me believe that wasn't a part of us. And we were talking about it and going back and listening to it. I didn't even realize that I said half the things I did. I was just saying
like, just get it out. I needed
I literally was just like, literally just connecting with this person that I felt like had a similar journey to mine, and something that very deeply still affects me to this day, something that I'm trying to reprogram in my own life and trying to do better for my child's life. But that's the whole reason we started this. We wanted that space where people could come on and be who they wanted to be, and they don't want to put up an air. Like, for us, we might dial up our personalities just a smidge when we're on camera and stuff, because sometimes we're dragging throughout the day, and you just gotta pump it up a little. But for the most part, what you see on camera is us. Like, our friendship, the way that we connect with each other, it's who we truly are as people. And that's a huge thing for us, is we want to be those people, because we don't want somebody to ever come up to us and be like, oh my gosh, they're so different than what they presented on. Because that would break my heart if someone ever said that.
My husband always says, never meet your heroes, because...
Oh my God, you read my mind.
Yeah.
Because it's true. And we don't want to be that.
Yeah. I don't want to be that.
Also, I'm just a nerdy girl from California who watches way too many horror movies, okay?
Yeah. Same.
And I ship morally great characters I should not be shipping. So...
Yeah, I have problems with romanticizing vampires.
Oh, this girl and fictional men. Thankfully, her fiance understands.
Yeah, because I get hit on all the time. Like, I'm not even trying to just flex that, but I do. I get hit on in some pretty weird ways, especially now doing this on camera. He never takes it that way, because obviously I'm with him. Which, by the way, shout out to Jim. Jim is my significant other, and he turns 40 tomorrow. So happy birthday to him.
40 Club. That's what I am.
Yeah. He thinks it's like the end of the world, and I'm like,
men always do.
Yeah, I'm like, you're just getting better. You're just getting better. It just get better. So, but no, yeah, he's like, so what if you lust after fictional men? Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, he was like, most of the time, I like, you're gonna leave me.
Yeah,
you're gonna leave me for Dracula.
Yeah, no,
because
Mr. Creep, because we're speaking about our significant others, because Ghost Dog is Mr. Creep.
I figured that was.
I figured that too.
So he popped in, and he's been.
I was gonna say, or this dude knows a lot about her.
Or he's creepy.
And he is. I think having that person that gets you. They don't they're not going to make you not be creepy. They're not going to make you not be into horror or not read this. Like, it's like he said, I am always the weirdo Wisconsinite. That is always me. So
I'm sorry. Just the fact that your husband just said Dracula doesn't have the 401k I have, so screw that guy. Listen, top.
I mean, I have my own 401k, first of all.
I mean, period.
But yes,
period.
He is correct, because we need together. We are together, and without that, we'll be in trouble. But yes, but he is 10 years older than me, so that's why he said 40 is such babies, because he's 50 and I'm.
See, Jim is 2 days 6 years older than me, and he says the same thing. So, but I don't see that, because I've always gone for older men. Maybe that's the trauma. Maybe it's
I call him my silver fox. Yeah. But he gets it. This is my area.
Yeah.
I have my own library, because he knows he takes me to the library and there's no books in there that I want. It's really rare. So he knows he got me these bookshelves, and this is my area to be weird.
Same here. My husband is so supportive.
I'm her gray buffalo.
And yeah, like today I needed to get something for the podcast, but I didn't know if it was in the budget. And he was like, no, the podcast is important. Go get it. And and when I write books, he went to all the conventions as my PA. So you got to find your person that supports you.
Yeah, there is truly that saying, if they could, they would. That truly, I believe that, because going from being in a relationship that was so toxic and so scarring as a relationship I had with my son's father, to literally being in a fairy tale compared to that. Like, I have a person who loves my child as much as I do. That's not my child. It's our child together, because we raised him together. He never is the one that points out, well, he's not biologically mine. You would never know that that's not his biological child. But like, when I wanted to do the podcast, he made me this whole room, and this room is just, listen, you live out your childhood fantasy, everything that you wanted, you just slap in there. So I have Monster High dolls that I collect. I just like the names that your husband is coming up with.
I'm dying.
He's very clever.
But
I know.
He lets me just do whatever. Like, my engagement ring obviously is a coffin, and even in front of our bed, I have a Dracula quote. I've crossed oceans of time to find you.
Yeah,
and so
it's a great
it's a great quote. So, but he's the kind of person where he was like.
I think it's important that if you're in the community of being into different, I'll say fringe things. Yeah. If you have a significant other that also enjoys them or comes along with you to enjoy those things, it's very important.
It very much is. It's the difference between so much, because he he did a convention with me recently, and he enjoyed it. He loved it. So, and that to me is just. I'm like, well, that's cool, because it just makes it even cooler. Some of my things that I like are odd, and I'm like, as long as I agree with you, as long as she doesn't summon the evil forces.
And life's an adventure.
No, they're not allowed in here.
He's like, oh, great. He goes, oh, great, thanks.
But no, I agree. Like, GhouliCon, we're deep in planning that for next year. And my son's coming. My significant other is coming. I'm bringing a whole crew of people, and he's just into it. And my son's at an age now where there are a lot of people that have their children on, and sometimes I think if your child wants to do it, that's one thing. If you're forcing your child to do it, I think that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But my son just enjoys it. He's always wanted to do little YouTube videos, and he's done that for himself and stuff like that. But now he's like, Mom, I want to do it with you. I'm your mini me. I want to do this. I want to be the one.
He's going to be here Welcome to Horrorcraft. How can I?
Yeah. Oh, he will. Like he's like, can I come film with you? And
Yeah.
like he just literally like he's all in. But Jim's like, listen, if I have to follow both of you around and carry your bags, I'm okay. That's my life. Like I'm okay with that. Like that's what you guys are doing, what you love to do, and I love you. So let's do it.
I have a question from
Yes.
his comment. She supports my garbage music. What is the garbage music?
Oh, your
wait,
sound.
no,
Your sound.
Your sound. I need to know the do. The do?
Hit it with my thumb. I have to like put a cage over that thing. So first of all, his music is not garbage. Don't let whatever. So he's been a musician for a long time.
Ooh, shout out to
For
him.
me. Yeah. So his music name is Mike Drastic. He it's I'll say it's hip hop, but it doesn't really fit that anymore. And it's not garbage music. It's fantastic. It's like Jelly Roll, but with metal influences now because he's been hanging out with me.
I'm a metalhead. If you want that.
I mean, I like what you're talking about so far.
Yeah. And if you're put your link in there.
She's like, I know you're in the other room. Put your link.
Yeah, it's like I know he's that way, Subway. So, but we were talking about movies, and I was thinking about how because he watches way more horror movies recently. He rewatched all the Alien movies.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Have you seen the new one?
This one's not watching any of those. First of all, the first one I have to like look away. And then, because
it's terrifying.
So now you know you're contractually obligated to bring Mr. Creepy with you to GhouliCon. He has to come.
No, because he knows way more about those. A long time ago, I watched the Alien 1, 2, and 3, the one with Winona Ryder that everyone.
Yeah. Oh, it's that's actually the fourth one.
Whatever. The way that they came, like in time wise.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I saw.
Same
I was scarred. Didn't sleep for a week. It was awful because my friends wanted to watch them all in a row, all within the same week.
So
I hadn't seen them for a very long time. I come home, he's watching them, and I'm trying to work, and the TV is right here, and he's watching it on mute with his headphones, so I don't have to hear it.
But that's more terrifying because if you look over, you don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, he's watching. Was it Morphe something? It's like one of the original. It's like the original one, like where they have just the head, and then the head is in this little case, and it explodes.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? So
yes.
He was watching those ones, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I can't watch these anymore either. What are you doing to me?" So he would watch them on mute, and he's like, "Don't look up," because I'd be starting to get up. He's like, "No, just wait."
he said I would turn it off. Prometheus, yes, that's what it is. But for Mr. Creepy's
like that's the Marvel movie.
Just for Mr. Creepy's sake and Mary's, because I know tons of facts. Alien Romulus is hitting your digital providers on October 15th, and you can currently pre-order it.
He's been wanting to watch it, so thank you.
Yeah, I was going to go to
Thanks
the
a lot.
theater. I was going to go to the theater to see it. I was going to take myself on a date because my husband does not want to see it. I'm more the horror fan. He likes like House of a Thousand Corpses, Texas Chainsaw 2, those kind of things. But he always jokes. He goes, I like 5 movies, and I will watch them over and over. And
that's me.
But I wanted to see it in the theater, but then I ended up getting sick because I get some pain in my legs because I don't want to get into it, but I have a chronic blood clot. And so so I couldn't go, and I was so bummed. But now that it's coming, I'm so excited.
Yeah, see, I'm the person anymore where I loved movie theaters growing up, but now
they're so expensive.
I just want to wait and buy it when it comes out on digital, and maybe
I want to pause it and go pee.
If I have to go to the bathroom,
snacks.
If I need to go back and rewatch it after I've been sitting there like, what the hell just happened? I want to be able to do that. I want to analyze it, and let's face it too. Streaming is kind of a beast its own, and movies get taken on and off all the time. So I like to owning certain
Like
ones.
physical copy.
I have a ton. I actually have. Mary keeps telling me that I need to, show people. Maybe I'll get on that for
Collection.
Mary's sake. Yeah,
That could be a video. Yeah.
that could be a video.
I just saw Phantom Farter. I was like, what is happening?
In the theater, we always get Captain Crinkles behind us, who's like
Oh.
eating their M&Ms for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Opening stuff before the movie starts.
Yeah, and my thing too is, and maybe this is a bad parent side of me, right? But like my son and I went to go watch Inside Out 2 in theaters together, and Brandon's like, Mom, we can't go to the movie theater anymore. And he's like, why? And I was like, why? He's like, because there's too many crazy kids in there. And I just like being by myself. He was like, I just like chilling. Like some of those kids, they were doing a little too much.
It was so funny when my stepdaughter Haley was younger. She was little and she'd be in the chair with her little kids pad. Just, there's one time the seat folded up because she's so little. But she'd be sitting there and there should be these kids running around and she's looking at them like, what's your problem? And she was like 6 or 7, so I get that.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch my movie.
Yeah. Braden is very like, listen, I just want the experience, okay? I just want the experience. Just let me live.
Let me live.
Let me live. So
real quick, because I wanted to ask this question and I had forgotten about it till now, because I mentioned aliens. So of the movies that are not human related, if you had to pick a creature feature, it doesn't have to be old, it could be new. What is your favorite?
Oh,
so this can be aliens, creature from the Black Lagoon. It can be vampire. It can be maybe not vampire because I know which one you'll pick.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm gonna go outside of vampires. Yeah. I like a good swamp creature from the Black Lagoon. Let me just talk my crap for a minute, okay? Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Preach.
Right. Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think the 50th anniversary is this month coming up, or it was. This is the 50th year. That's all I know. But it's so underrated. First of all, second of all, don't start no shit if you don't want no shit. He was perfectly fine in his environment.
Fine.
Yeah, and you wanted to come in and be Captain Explore-a-lot and then expect no shit. I'm sorry, but you were asking for the smoke. Okay, you were asking for it, and you cannot convince me otherwise. I would say I have seen Shape of Water. There were some scenes that were concerning to me. That this turned into a little bit of a, fanfic. Will they? Won't they? Eroticism. But I mean, Guillermo del Toro obviously knew.
Yeah. He's got it.
He knew it. He was making it. One that I feel like doesn't get enough credit.
But is it your favorite?
I wouldn't say so. My favorite, it has to be Creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay. One that I would definitely say, they made swamp babies. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They did. They did. I mean, you got that. One that I would definitely say, well, I'll let Mary answer and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
No, I want to hear yours.
That would have to be Predator because I'm obsessed with Predator.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, Predator, I think is the most badass thing ever. And then when he takes off his helmet, and what I like about Predator is he's just a soldier. He's just here to do what he's got to do, and he don't give a shit who you are. Yeah. And he, oh my God, he's got powers without having powers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very much
amazing.
So.
And I just freaking love it.
One of those don't ask for the smoke and they won't bring it.
I mean, kind of. I mean, technically he's seeking it out, but yeah, I mean, in some of them he's not. I would definitely say the one to me that is very highly underrated, and that's why I was waiting for Mary to say it because I figured that she was going to pick one of the two that we were about to say. I am obviously an Aliens fan, but the one that I think doesn't get enough credit is the first Alien versus Predator, because you have
I liked
Lance
that one.
Henriksen coming back. You have a whole storyline that kind of made sense for both canons. And I'm not saying
It did. I was surprised because I saw it with my dad, and we were expecting a terrible movie, right?
Right.
And we're like, that wasn't bad.
And even the second movie, even though it's
Mhm.
not as good as the first one,
It never
it's
is.
still a good matchup between the two, and it makes you think. One of the underrated Predator ones too, that's one of my favorite, is the Predators one that they came up with, where they put the the people on the Predator planets, and it had like Danny Trejo, it had Adrian Brody and stuff. I thought that was super cool because you had different. I will say though, maybe this is just the feminist in me, the woman in me. Prey. That is probably my favorite.
That was my next thing. Can we talk about Prey? Because that was a bad.
Yes,
that was like Laura Croft to the 10th power.
What? So he says, "Did you see in Predator 2 the prop that kicked off the?" Yes, I did. I live by this. I understand exactly what moment. And you know what? Just for Mr. Creepy, we actually, if you go back and listen to one of our episodes, we had on Bill Perry and one of his first like acting speaking roles, because he's a stuntman, and also was a lifelong collaborator of Wes Craven, because he was Wes Craven's web designer. He had his first speaking role in Predator 2, and he has a really cool story about Bill Paxton and interacting with Bill Paxton on the set of Predator 2. The next Predator is going to take place in World War II, and I'm excited for that, because that is another one that I will say I think is highly underrated. We have an episode that was a very early on episode. I will apologize in advance about the quality, but we had an episode that we did where we talked about World War II and the occult ties, especially related to zombieism, and the different movies and ways that takes off with creature features and talking in relation with World War II. So there is a really good movie that is kind of in that realm called Blood Vessel that talks about Strigores, which we were talking about earlier. So
you guys know way more about that.
So.
Go for it. You can talk with that all day long.
Yeah, but no, I love a good creature is because you just have to respect creature. And also too, I don't know if you know this, a really crazy tidbit is the person there that were inside. Yes, Overlord is another one. You speaking my language.
He's way more nerdy than I am.
Oh, we could have a full, you know what? He's coming to GhouliCon. We're going to have a full conversation. We're going to, we're going to be like, we need to talk. We have some topics. I'm going to bring one of those scrolls, like the Salt Lake City.
He would have been with me this year, but he had a knee replacement. So,
well, we'll see you this year. Coming up.
I have a question for Creepy when you're done. I have a question for Creepy.
I don't even know what I was talking about.
Okay, what's the question?
What's the question?
What is the first story that you were obsessed with and you started deep diving into?
Yeah. Like true crime, cults.
Whatever it is.
I would say cults came later because, again, I wasn't allowed to really know about them. But I'll say in modern day, like the rest of the cults, with cults, when I started this idea, I started learning about Heaven's Gate. And at the time when it happened, I was like, what, 8 or 9? So that would have never been across my radar, right? Because it happened in 94, I think. 97, something like that. And all of a sudden, most episodes, I spend about a week researching, writing, everything from start to finish. I worked on that one for a year. A whole year. I was obsessed with all the audio I could find, all the video I could find, all the who, what, when, where, why. In fact, someone that I had on here, he's a philosopher about the whole Heaven's Gate, how they break down their structure and everything like that. And I wrote to them. I have their book that they sent me. And it wasn't like I wasn't obsessed with it, but I was fascinated how that would happen. How you would get 34 people to do that and follow. And like, I was obsessed with it. And I think that was the one that I really became interested in recently. Well, he said Starvation Heights. That was one I did research for a group, for our paranormal group. That one was a wild trip too, Linda Hazard. But
he said, "Stop giving cults our address."
I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about this, but no, I understand exactly what you were saying about that, because I do think when you're talking in the aspect like this, I want to be very clear because meeting you at GhoulieCon, I think you're in the same school of thought that we are. Never are we doing this to glamorize what happened. It's just the fact that if we don't talk about these things, if we don't put names and faces and put them at the forefront, these things keep happening.
They disappear. Yeah. And that was a big part of it too, is like cults like Jonestown. When I read about that, for me, it wasn't becoming obsessed again about that person. I wanted to know, when I see this behavior in the future, I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I know that this person's bad.
Yes, because this happens all the time. Like, look at the Nexium, look at all these, and look at all this behavior now that we're seeing with Diddy coming out and everything unraveling with. These are things that still happen, and I think it's so important to talk about. Like, one of the
Love Is One, that was interesting too.
Yes,
but not as interesting.
One of the ones that I got obsessed with growing up is The Stepfather, just because in my mind, growing up, like when I watched that movie for the first time, I did not realize that was a true story. When I found out it was,
a lot of them people don't realize they are.
But the fact that was, and it's a person that's not, outwardly like, ooh, that's a predator, that's a bad guy. He doesn't look like that, even the real life. And the fact that he meticulously did everything, to me, it was something that I felt like I had to highlight, because there's so many people that I knew like that growing up, where their dads had that type of behavior, where it was one way in front of people in public, and a really gnarly dark side in the back of it. Like, I had some friends, their parents went through some pretty gnarly divorces, and they had some pretty predatory behavior happen in those situations. I'm not saying that their father, was trying to kill them, but it was just, it's a stark reminder that these things happen all the time. And I think we need to normalize them. So I want to make it very clear, because especially with, oh my gosh, the Wade guy,
Wade Wilson,
how he's getting glamorized on TikTok. I find that
people are stupid.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely gross. I don't understand why.
And they need therapy.
If I see all those videos, I report it as hate speech.
As you
that's
should.
Ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
As you should. Like, it's just... Obviously, we fall in love with fictional serial killers, right? And there are morally gray characters. That man is not morally gray. He is just fucking black.
Bad. His eyes have but they're all like that. It's all in the eyes. And serial killers are like that too. You look like the old ones. Even someone like Dahmer, who was kind of greasy and weird.
Yeah.
He was somehow charismatic enough to make them be okay with coming back from the bar. Or you have a Bundy, who would go out and the girls thought he was so cute and handsome, and
I know what I want to ask you too,
which is crazy.
Because Mary is fired up over this. So it was recently announced that Charlie Hunnam of Sons of Anarchy is going to be playing Ed Gein.
He's not attractive. He's weird, and he killed women because he didn't know how to act. I'm like, why Why are we making? Well, first of all, I love Evan Peters, but why were we making Dahmer more good looking than he was? And then with this Ed Gein thing, it makes me so
he chose
upset.
one of the most handsome people that we know in a modern day to play Gein.
And Gein really was sexually manipulated, abused boy whose mother made all women out to be bad and really screwed him up developmentally, everything.
Talk that shit, man.
And now we're going to use one of the sexiest actors to play him. No, the reason why he killed
Geins of Anarchy.
Yeah. The reason why he killed some of these women is because they rejected him sexually and he didn't know what to do with that.
So my question.
Sorry, tangent.
It's okay.
He only killed two people.
Yeah, it was because
the rest of them are all dug up.
Yeah, I don't think he's a serial killer.
No, I don't think he is either. Because the ones that happened, I think he just raged out, and if you read kind of where everything was on the crime scene and this and that, but I hope that they take Charlie Hunnam, if they're going to pick him, and they do like Charlize Theron when she played Monster and made her less attractive.
Ryan Murphy's in charge of it, so it's going to be crap. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm so mad what he did with Monsters. So mad what he did with the Mendes brothers.
I mean, they would really have to alter Charlie Hunnam's look. And also, Ed Gein was much older.
Yeah. The thing I was going to ask, though, about
I got too passionate.
Is where do you think we put the line at? We have a responsibility to tell these stories, and we are glamorizing somebody for bad actions. Because to me, I feel like
don't make them attractive.
The Chris Watts documentary that they put out on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that was probably one of the most prolific things that Netflix could have done, because they let a lot of that footage speak for itself, like of him being in, like when the police were going through and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. It was very obvious that he did it.
Right. And I think that that's important, because a lot of times certain aspects with DV just get glossed over. So that I think that was very important. But then you get things like Dahmer and the Mendes brothers and how the different iterations. When do you feel like we're crossing that line?
I feel that everything comes in waves.
Right.
Everything, all of a sudden, all the movies are all aliens. All the movies are all clowns, whatever. It comes in waves. I feel that what they're doing right now is they're trying to make a buck. They know that everybody is obsessed because a lot of people that are weren't raised correctly. So they're digesting all this information all wrong, and they're going to have watchers. They're going to have views. And I think we crossed that line long ago.
Yeah. I feel like there's a difference between putting something out like that, and I feel like a lot of the reason why they did that documentary on Chris Watts is because he tried to shift a lot of that blame on the wife, and which was insane. And I think it's very important to show something like that and to let a lot of those moments speak for themselves. I think they did a good job for that. But then you get a fictionalized version that's like fantasizing a real situation that I feel like kind of crosses the line.
It has crossed the line, because now you're telling false stories, or you're shifting the stories to meet the current narrative of whatever it is right now in 2024 going on 25. And a docu-series, I find they do that too. They're real inflammatory, and they want you to just
there's
tell us
certain
the
ones that I feel like just cross the line. The one recently that I actually enjoyed, because I felt like they weren't trying to really make like a huge splash with it, but the TikTok murder one about
that was good.
Yeah,
it's still happening.
Yeah, it's a TikToker that he blew up. He was like a character actor, and he was abusing his wife, and they put on this whole person, and then he ended up killing his wife. And
there's so many couples that are like that in social media too, where they
Yeah.
show they're these perfect couples, and then one day.
But they did
one
a
of them
really,
snaps.
but they did a really good job at like letting a lot of the footage that like, cause he recorded moments that he probably shouldn't have been recording, but they did a good job of just letting that speak for itself. And then, definitely, building upon it by, they had representatives from both families there talking about it like openly and not like blaming like solely like they had a really good conversation about it. I think that was a good one because the whole point is normalizing this because this person very clearly, the wife, she was trying to, I guess, try to save like in her mind, even though she knew their relationship was over, she still cared about this person and she didn't want to hurt them. And because of that, it got to a point where this person then was allowed access to kill her. So I feel like they did a good job at that. I won't watch a lot of the Ryan Murphy ones coming up, and I do agree that it's just going to be Jax Teller wearing a nipple belt.
Yeah. And I think that'll be when really, if they just told the truth, it would be way more scary.
But I mean, that's why a lot of people are scared of going back to long legs. That's why a lot of people are scared of long legs because long legs, Nicolas Cage isn't really he's an attractive person, right? But you take him and you put him in a different, I mean, they didn't glamorize him. They just they made a character that was very,
and that's what you should do.
Right. And but I mean, again, Longlegs was done by Oswald Perkins, who is the son of Anthony Perkins from Psycho, who played Norman Bates. I wouldn't expect anything less because obviously he grew up in the realm of Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Hitchcock, sorry.
I know what you meant. Everybody knows what you
meant. Yeah, you know what I meant. But going back to what I was going to say before about the creature, we do need to give more respect because a lot of people don't realize that, but that was a rubber suit. The people that were in that rubber suit, because of the way that the makeup was and everything back then, literally got chemical burns and were disfigured by wearing the suit for long periods of time.
Which is bananas.
Which is crazy. I mean, a lot of different Universal monsters had that experience, but the creature was obviously the worst one because that is a full latex suit.
And people don't realize just how heavy they were and what the adhesives that they used, and like they were not like nowadays.
No, they weren't. They were clunky because they talk about the fact that there's a picture that you can Google where it is all three of the primary actors, the actress and the two actors, the one playing creature and the other, and he couldn't see past it, and he accidentally clunked the actress on the back lot with a rock, and they were like attending to, and he's in the full, because he cannot get out of that. They cannot take him out of that until the end of the day. So he's just in that costume with the other actor trying to, figure out, like he dropped her too at one point. So shout out. Things were
so different.
Yeah, shout out to the Universal like, I mean, it was really like almost guerrilla warfare when making a lot of these movies because they had so many moving parts and pieces. So we do need to give Universal Monsters more respect.
Yeah. And I think I'm glad that they're kind of having a resurgence now that they have their own thing at Universal. And it's like thank God.
I mean, that's where I want to be. I say this all the time, but I never related more to the Ariel song where she goes, I want to be where the people are. That's where I want to be.
Where the monsters are.
Tell her your reaction to watching when they dropped the trailer.
I cried.
Is that important?
Yeah. I mean, I'm an emotional person. Okay. I think we need to normalize that I could be a horror fan and emotionally charged at the same time. Okay.
Yeah. It's a good combo.
If you didn't cry.
Well, look, I just go off randomly on random subjects.
I mean,
that I didn't know I was passionate about.
If you didn't cry today at the announcement that Maggie Smith died.
Oh my God. I forgot I was going to mention that. R.I.P.
Gutted.
Well, I was like, I feel like she was just going to live forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, and truly she will, because whether you
She
saw,
has 70 years of filmography.
yeah, I mean,
70 years.
and even if you remember her from Harry Potter as McGonagall, you remember her as the, just politely yet shit talking character from Downton Abbey in her own way, or you remember her for any other of the things that she did, Hook, especially, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I
She
love
played
Hook.
Wendy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, just
I
truly
loved her.
will live on forever. But
Mm-hmm.
it is sad because, especially, I think a lot of people, the reason they get upset is obviously Harry Potter. That was a big thing for a lot of us. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
especially,
And it's been around for a long time.
right, in my generation, that we grew up on it. That's how a lot of us read, like got into reading, was Harry Potter. There is two new werewolf movies coming up. Wolfman is getting redone by Lee Wynell, and it looks crazy. I want them to redo Creature though. Like seriously, Creature. Yes.
You talking to me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just a second.
So I'm going to take over, and I am going to ask you a question, Mary.
Where'd she go?
She literally, her camera went down. So we're taking over for a minute, okay?
I was like, what happened? I was just taking a drink.
No, her camera went down. It's fine. But Mary, I have a question to ask you. What is a creepy movie that you like?
Oh, that I like.
Oh, Clash of the Titans is another good one that Maggie Smith was in the original.
Yep.
So, and for those who don't know, the remake of Clash of the Titans, I found this out because of Luke Evans. Emma Roberts, the other Emma Roberts, the one who played in Nanny McPhee. Nanny McPhee and the new Clash of the Titans movie were filmed on the same thing, on the same lot. So Emma Roberts walked over and she was talking to Liam Neeson. She actually hid behind in one of the scenes in Clash of the Titans. So if you like look in there, you can actually see that Nanny McPhee is like hiding behind one of the Titan, like one of the god-like figures in Clash of the Titans. Just a brief movie fact for you. But what's a creepy movie for you, Mary?
You actually already talked about it, Stepfather.
Oh, you know what's a one for me? Dead Silence.
I've never even heard of like 75% of these movies you guys are.
Oh, creepy. I'm surprised you haven't heard of Dead Silence, because Dead Silence is basically like our 2000s version of an urban legend. It was about this man who gets a package from home and his wife dies mysteriously and they think it's him. But there is a folklore behind it that Mary Shaw was like this ventriloquist, that she wanted a child, and she was connected with a lot of local murders. And it's like Mary Shaw didn't have children, but she had dolls. And it's like they had a scene, and this is the one that like popped out to me, where it's a whole entire wall of dolls and they all move at the same time. Like they move the same direction.
Yeah.
Mary's like, nope.
That's
nope.
a no.
Nope. So
hell no to the no.
Right.
So
let's take you go ahead. You go.
No, I was about to say.
So before we came on air, because I don't want to run out of time, because I know we're coming up on almost 2 hours, and you asked me about the postcards and the stickers. So these will be going up, and I wanted to show them off here real quick before.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So I have 2 bundles of them. So I have the Fresno
stickers a lot.
Yeah, well, I have lots of them. I have Fresno Nightcrawlers. I have the Loveland Frog, which these will be. These are all original episode art for those that are watching. These will be going up probably in an Etsy shop instead of online. Robert the Doll. Yep. And then our Love Has Won.
Oh, did you do the artwork?
So this art, most of the artwork is done by MVR Designs, also known as Mr. Creep, because he's a graphic designer.
Yes, Mr. Creep.
If it's something that I can't do, usually my harebrained ideas start with me going with a sticky note with like a pen drawing, because I can't draw to save my life. This started on a small sticky note, are you guys familiar with Adventure Time?
Yes.
Finn and Jake? Okay. So
I love Adventure Time.
Finn when he's in his sleeping bag. So I drew a Finn with a smiley face with a crown, and I drew it looked like barbed wire, but I'm like, and these are Christmas lights. Can you and I want this floating in a galaxy. He was like, what?
You know what? We agree.
But he did it.
I mean, he did it, and we understand that because the person who does our stickers, Sticky by Sarah Parson, who is our friend, we love her, who has done our artwork. We literally are like, okay, here's this. I know they're so freaking cool. She actually, she does the same thing. Yeah. So she actually will be like, okay, well, this is what we might want, and this is how we're doing it. And even I think I sent her a thing with stick figures before, and then she turns it and makes it we literally look like horror Disney characters, which is the greatest thing of all time.
That's what I want.
Yeah, thank you. God bless you.
Right? So, here, hold on. My microphone's all in the way here. Let's put you there.
The boom arm. Oh, Heaven's Gate. There we go.
Yep. He drew
that.
He drew this, and he was just doodling, and I'm like, oh, I want that. So I got to keep it. This one is kind of in the middle. This is Aokigahara Jukai, the
Suicide Forest. Yep.
Suicide Forest, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, the Lake Winnebago monster.
So Lake Winnebago is in between Wisconsin area there. And that's the natives talked about the fish that ate elk and everything like that. And then Indrid Cold.
Oh, yep.
Yep. Now, the Indrid Cold, you guys, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about it. Do you guys remember Mothman from WillyCon?
Yes.
So I saw.
You may be seeing an Indrid Cold design from him in the future.
Ooh.
That was done by Creepy.
Oh.
Because he liked it.
Aww. I love that.
He wanted, he went through the right things. He got copyright and everything or that from me. So that is a creepy design.
Hello, Louisiana High Ride.
Hello, all.
So obviously we're going to have to start wrapping this up, but probably the best way to wrap this up is our favorite segment that Mary does, that we all...
You're driving, huh?
Yeah, she's getting thrown into the fire, which she's going to love me for. But what's your favorite thing in horror this week? Mary?
I wasn't ready for that. Come back to me.
Come back to you?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the Salem's Lot remake that sat dormant for years and years and years is finally coming next week, October 3rd, I think it is. I will also in horror news, and it's excitement because I love sexy vampires. Don't get me wrong, but hashtag let's make vampires scary again. Let's get back to a level. Yeah, and I will tell you, if you grew up with the OG Salem's Lot, it looks like this is taking a very similar lens. And I love the original Mr. Creepy. You're going to have to watch it, but then do watch the new one, because the reason why a lot of us were fired up is Stephen King got to see an early copy of it and absolutely loved it. And how many times does he actually like remakes of his own work?
No, he doesn't.
So Nosferatu has a new trailer that is going to be dropping soon too, which I think
I'm excited to see that.
I am super excited to see that.
Yeah, because it actually looks like it'll be decent.
Yes, it looks like it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be a masterpiece. I mean, Robert
I agree.
Eggers.
It looks fantastic.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Let's bring back the gothic scary.
That's
Let's
the
do it.
OG.
That's
The
very.
Miss Mary, I wanted to get these out to show you real quick because you wanted stickers.
Yeah,
So a lot of them are similar designs, but they're large, 3-inch.
Oh
stickers.
yeah.
Oh my
These
God,
are
I love that.
holographic. Quite a bit of them are holographic. This one though also has the aliens design. So you guys will see these coming out in the near future. I've had them. I just haven't
Woo-hoo!
put them up in the
Vlad the
shop.
Bat is happy about that.
I love it. I love it.
He's been
And
my
then
emotional.
also, everyone has been seeing merch. If you guys are watching this, you can now get Creepy Confidential merch via our website, creepyconfidential.com. You can go there. I am wearing one of my creep designs
Which I love
today.
it.
I love that.
I
Speaking of
love it.
vampires, right? It's like old school Halloween. There's kind of the classic logo, 3D logo. We got one of the never released Indrid Cold designs. I actually ended up using it for merch. So you can go to www.creepyconfidential.com. So the Horrorcraft girls, I need to know, what do you guys have? What is on the horizon? What are you guys working on next that we should be looking for?
So Horrorcraft is probably going to be switching by the end of the year. We are talking about switching up to twice a week now because we're booked and busy. We are just out there. We have a really great episode coming out this week. We had 2 episodes dropped this week. My birthday episode talking about Dracula 2000, but closing up our horror haunt scare house theme. We talked about Hell House. But next month is our Halloween. We did it last year. We're doing it again, part 2. And we're starting off with a ripper. If you haven't seen him on TikTok or the social media web, just Haunter, it comes on and talks about a lot of really cool content creator side. And then October 18th, we are dropping our 100th episode because Monday, I thought it was today, but it's actually Monday. Monday is our 3-year anniversary of Horrorcraft and when it was started, when the first episode dropped. So we are going to be taking a look back at 100 years. 100 years. Well, it feels like 100 years. 100 episodes.
I was like, who's a vampire now?
I mean, I wish.
I mean,
I feel like a vampire looking good in this light. So maybe that was my inspiration. But
right? You're like
100 episodes of just crazy, maniac, amazing energy that we just projected. And then we got a lot of really cool people coming on. Halloweeners. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you got me.
But yeah, we're going to have a lot of really cool people coming on. We are working on GhoulieCon with Joanna from Coven of Screams. We have Spooky Mom's Coven that will be dropping a Scooby-Doo episode soon. And we are also, Joanna and I do the Midnight Bite. We have some new episodes dropping of that as well. And there may be another podcast coming to our network of podcasts underneath the Horrorcraft umbrella for next year. So we have a couple in the works. And yeah, we preach women being in horror and definitely the different facets that we can play, and this is our year that we're doing it.
Yeah, you
we're
guys
going
got a
for
lot
the
going
fences.
on.
Yeah, so
so for the Creep Nation that's watching, as we're kind of getting these last couple things done and making sure we know, I have put all of their details underneath the video. The immediate replay won't be there for a little while, but we'll release it onto our video content that you'll see pop up on our YouTube as well. So just so you guys know,
we do have one more in-person appearance. It's just me. Joanna from Coven of Screams and GhoulieCon is coming up as well. but October 19th is Witches Walk in the Sandusky, Ohio area. And it is a very cool charity organization where they have thousands of witches walk down to a cauldron and do a big spell, and all the money goes to charity. And it's just a fun night where everyone runs around and is witches, and we just get to be spooky. So that is our last in person for the year. And next year, who knows? We'll probably be everywhere. We'll probably be in space.
Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And, you know, I'm learning how to do YouTube shorts. We haven't posted them yet because I'm learning. And, but yeah, please mainly go to our TikTok and go to our Instagram at the Horrorcraft Podcast. We are at the Horrorcraft Podcast everywhere. Pretty much, if it's a social media platform, we're on it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
true that.
cool. I love it. Well, ladies, we know what you have in the future. We absolutely look forward to it. All of the at GhoulieCon, you will not only see the Horrorcraft Podcast, you will see Creepy Confidential, amongst a few others. Hopefully this year you'll see me as a panel. That'll come up in July. That just wrapped in July, so we'll see next year. But it'll pick up. So, Lee, I want to thank you so much for coming this evening amongst the storms, the hurricane. We hope that your fellow sister will regain power soon.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm very worried about her.
Yeah. We're going to be checking in as soon as we get done with this. But for anyone who's been affected by this, we hope that you're safe. And if you need natural disaster resources, go to the Red Cross website. And Mary, you're making fun of me doing this, but Creepy, I did put on ghost nails just for you.
Well, you gotta get them closer. I can't see them. Closer. Oh no, I see them. They look like my friend. Oh, my ghost is gone. I have a little ghost that's up there.
I have a ghost. I have a crocheted one. So, yeah, if you are currently experiencing some issues across Ohio, Kentucky, please go visit that, get help. So cool. We'll be thinking of everybody, but thank you, Creepy, for having us on. We are definitely going to be having Creepy come on for an episode on our podcast. So stay tuned for that. We're super excited. And, yeah, if you want to follow Creepy and our journey on GhoulieCon, go on the official GhoulieCon pages. You'll find links to them on our stuff. We have them everywhere, and there will be multiple updates. We're going to have updates coming out the wazoo soon. So just keep tuning in. And do vampires paint their fingernails? No, they don't. They're just naturally cool, okay?
Right. So before we leave this evening, I'm gonna you guys are just gonna disappear for a second. Do not leave. I'm gonna chit chat with you here in just a second.
Okay.
I'm just gonna finish up with some final announcements. But thank you again, Creep Nation, the Horrorcraft Podcast.
Thank you.
All right, guys, hold on. I'll be right with you. So before we leave this evening, I just want to make sure that everybody knows, coming up October 20th, we are wrapping for the After Dark finale. Going to be awesome. It's going to be the Horror Halloween. We're going to do costumes, horror trivia. We're going to talk about movies that are based on a true story that are actually horror movies. So please join us on October 20th over here on our channel, creepyconfidential.com as well. And that will include the Hell Zone TV peeps. Very excited for that. So Techno Wizard, the Hellmaster himself, and Joanna from Coven of Screams, they are all part of the Hell Zone TV. So again, October 20th, join us here for the 2024 finale of Creepy Confidential After Dark. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. And until next time, stay creepy, my friends.